The swimsuit sat folded on the edge of my bed. It shouldn't have mattered. It was just a swimsuit, just a piece of fabric I had worn before. But somehow that morning, it felt heavier than anything else I needed to carry. My children were ready to go. They had packed their towels and goggles. Someone was already asking for snacks. Someone else couldn't wait to jump in the pool. The whole house carried that familiar energy of a summer morning, the kind where everyone is excited to leave except the one person standing quietly in the bedroom, trying to decide if she can bear to be seen. I remember standing there thinking, maybe we could go tomorrow. Maybe it's too crowded today. Maybe someone looks tired. Maybe I can think of another reason. It took me years to realize that I wasn't afraid of wearing the swimsuit. I was afraid of being visible. Welcome to Lift the Shame. I'm Crystal Cargis, eating disorder dietitian, mom of five, and someone who believes that you don't have to be fully healed to be a good mother. This is a place where we don't chase perfection. We practice repair, where education begins with recognition, and where I hope every conversation helps you feel just a little less alone. Today, I want to talk about something that seems so ordinary and yet quietly holds so much shame for so many mothers: the swimsuit. Maybe this isn't your story. Maybe you've never stood in front of a swimsuit and felt your chest tighten. But perhaps you've stood in front of a pair of shorts or a sundress or workout clothes. Or maybe you've looked at an invitation to the beach and immediately started calculating all the reasons you shouldn't go. What's interesting is that shame is incredibly creative. It rarely announces itself by saying, "I'm trying to keep you hidden." Instead, it whispers things that sound almost reasonable. You'll enjoy yourself more once you've lost a little weight. Everyone else will notice. You don't want the pictures. You'll feel uncomfortable all day. Just wait until next time. But before we realize what's happening, another summer has passed. Not because we didn't love our children, but because shame quietly convinced us that disappearing was safer than being present. I think that's one of the hardest things about body shame and motherhood. It doesn't just hurt us, it quietly steals moments. For a long time, I believed recovery meant that one day I would finally feel confident enough to wear the swimsuit, that confidence would come first, and then I'd start living. But recovery has surprised me because confidence didn't come first. Presence did. I didn't wait until I loved my body before getting into the pool. I got into the pool while still hearing the voice that wanted me to stay on the sidelines. I didn't wait until every critical thought disappeared. I learned that I didn't have to obey every critical thought. Those are two very different things. I think so many of us have been waiting for healing to give us permission to live. But what if healing often begins because we choose to live? Not perfectly, not fearlessly, just honestly. I've been thinking lately about what our children actually remember. When I ask adults about their childhood summers, they rarely tell me what their mom looked like in a swimsuit. They remember cannonballs, popsicles dripping down their arms, being wrapped in a towel after swimming, the smell of sunscreen, laughing until their stomach hurt, being chased through the sprinklers, being held, being watched, being loved. Our children aren't collecting evidence about our bodies. They're collecting memories of our presence. And I think that's one of shame's biggest lies. It convinces us that our body is the most noticeable thing about us, when in reality, our absence is often far more noticeable. Not because our children judge us, because they simply miss us. They miss us in the water, in the picture, on the beach towel beside them, in the spontaneous moments that become family stories years later. One of the things I witness most often in my work with mothers is this deep grief, not because they failed, not because they're bad mothers, but because they begin to realize how much energy shame has demanded from them. So much mental space calculating, comparing, adjusting, avoiding, trying to make themselves smaller. It's exhausting, and it makes perfect sense, especially if you've lived with an eating disorder or chronic body shame for years. Of course, your nervous system wants to protect you. Of course, visibility feels vulnerable. Nothing has gone wrong. Your mind learned that being seen wasn't safe. Recovery isn't about criticizing that part of you. It's about gently helping it discover that perhaps, little by little, things can become safer. So if you're listening to this during the summer, I wonder, where has shame been asking you to disappear? Maybe it's the pool. Maybe it's family photos. Maybe it's saying yes to a vacation. Maybe it's letting someone else take your picture with your children. Not because your body changed, but because shame convinced you that your body determined whether you deserved to fully participate in your own life. What if this week you chose one small act of presence instead? Not because you suddenly felt confident, but because your children deserve your presence more than they need your perfection. And maybe you deserve that too. If no one has told you this lately, your children do not need a perfect body to make beautiful memories with you. They need your laugh, your hugs, your eyes looking back at them, your hand reaching into the water, your willingness to be there. Recovery isn't about becoming fearless. It's about slowly choosing presence, even while fear still whispers. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode felt like it was written for you, I'd love for you to share it with another mother who might need this reminder too. And if you're longing for a place where these conversations continue, where you don't have to carry them alone, I hope you'll join us at one of our free Lift the Shame support circles, because you were never meant to heal alone. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself, and I'll meet you here again next week. Bye for now.